has also come on. Back from Racing 92. Another one with top 14 experience. So the French, couple of changes already. The Italians appear to be as they were at the end of the first half. And a first touch for Romain Riquet. And the first penalty to France in this opening 40.
I think it will only be a matter of seconds before you feel the impact of Nolan Le Garec on this game. He's regarded as one of the hottest prospects of French rugby. Number 9, originally from Brittany, the club of Vannes, who is doing very well in the second division. Then got picked up by Racing Metro, but obviously with Teddy Ribaren, Maxime Machneau, he's not getting as many minutes as he wants, but he is very good with the foot, incredible in attack. I'm completely biased, but I think he's very good, and he's looked after.
And there he is with his first touch, spinning it out to Romain Riquet in the French midfield. As France advance now into the Italian half, but that pass not finding its target and drifting harmlessly into touch. Another frustrating start there for the French. The Italians will have a line out and a chance to clear their lines.
Yeah, Thomas Ployer, the big lanky second row, doesn't necessarily have the best timing on that play. It's a shame. Coming back on the blind side, you need to be sharp.
Bartolomeo with the throw-in, but it is stolen by the French, that one. And there's Romain Le Garec. Floated pass out, just getting beyond that Italian defence. Italian defence has been so aggressive, so the French may be looking to find some space on the outside of it. But that ball also goes into the touch on the other side of the field.
You like a scrum.
Knocked on by the French, so the Italians have the choice and they choose to scrum down.
That's again an initiative from Nolan Le Garec. He wants to put a lot of tempo in the game, playing that short side, trying to catch the defense looking or expecting them to come back the other way. But again, a tiny little margin of detail of timing. You got to time those runs. You can't overrun and force the pass. You got to wait for your time.
Bind.
So Alessandro Garbisi feeds the scrum. And again, a twisting, turning, but the ball comes out and it goes into the midfield for Schiabel, who finds a bit of space there in that midfield. Offloads to Simone Gessi, scorer of that spectacular solo try in the first half. And the Italians now making some inroads into this French defence. Fabio Schiabel. Garbisi just tidying up the loose ball there. And penalty to the French. And just a little bit of afters. Frustrations creeping in between these two sides.
That's a great turnover from Benjamin Boudou, because that was a great passage of play from the Italians, like you said. Attacking that defense, I mean, with so much pace. It's not so much the accuracy or the skill that they're ready to play, but there's their determination, the pace that they put to attack the line, take the decisions completely on the point of impact, and do it with so much grit that they're in there. But then a good chop defense, and you see Benjamin Boudou is the first one there, the Clermont hooker, and he gets rewarded for a good contest.
Just great position over the ball there. 3 defenders trying to shift him. Clung on like a limpet, and this is France's reward. A line out in Italian territory. Retier out to Gaeton in the midfield. And decent quick ball from the French. Retier puts boot to ball now, and Garbisi should cope with this one. But a good chase for the French, and it's charged down. So the Italians were onside, but the French have got another penalty offside against Italy this time, and the French will continue to pile on the pressure into the Italians.
You're never onside from the original.
Nolan Le Garec already looking a lively presence at 9, and looking a very authoritative presence as well, just marshalling his back line effectively already.
I think Kylian Tixeron got replaced by Jean-Baptiste Lachaise, because he's the one pointing and asking for the 3 points after Nolan Le Garec wanting potentially to go to touch. But we just saw that grubber kick by Edgar Rotier was just spot on, smart, clever. When the defense is so tight and so intense, you got to play around it, put the number 9 Garbisi under a tremendous amount of pressure. And the ideal scenario is when on top of that you get an extra penalty to potentially add 3 points and extend that lead.
So Edgar Retier, already successful with his first penalty and his conversion of Nelson Epe's try. Just aiming to extend the French lead. Conditions will be still here at the Cardiff Arms Park as he sends that one soaring high but wide of the post, so it will remain Italy 8, France 13.
Make sure, please.
So comfortably taken by France, but another deflection. And the ball back in Italian hands, and a little bit of space to work with on the right-hand side, but Nelson Epe showing he's as good in defence as he's in attack, just dragging his bigger opposite number, Vakari, into touch.
Yeah, to be a top-level winger, you got to do a bit of everything. You got to be the finisher, but also when it's one-on-one tackle, you got to push it towards the defender that never missed a tackle in his life, the touchline.
So Benjamin Boudou, and good clean line-up ball again from the French, quickly out to the midfield, and that's a fantastic break from Gaetan, who's really showing up well in this French midfield, an elusive runner. And it's got the French back on the front foot now. Quick ball. Recycling is far more efficient in this second half. Don't know whether that's the presence of Le Garec, just adding a bit of urgency to the breakdown. But as I say that, Italian tackler getting over the ball, slowing things down and affecting a turnover. Good play from the Italians to snuff out what was looking like a decent French attack.
That's a great combo. Filippo Drago with the low tackle, and I think it's Ross Michael Vincent, is that how you would say it? Who tackled beautifully and went to compete for the ball. Great passage play on the French side, but again, defensive setup is perfectly in place, showing a lot of aggressivity. Low tackle on the floor, number 7, ball is there. Nobody's want to get him out. Adrien Varion tried his hardest, but he just couldn't.
Classic open side play there from Vincent. And the result is an Italian lineup just outside the French 22 and an opportunity to launch an attack of their own. Good clean ball, taken well. But immediately another technical infringement.
The ball back behind 2 players. It's a long arm transfer.
The dreaded long arm transfer.
You're handing the ball back behind 2 players.
To those who aren't familiar with some of the more arcane laws of rugby union, that is one of the ones that will bamboozle a lot of teams, but it is illegal. And it means France have another reprieve. Edgar Retier will clear his lines.
Okay, so when you're coming down, the first man has to rip the ball. What you're doing is putting 2 men in and handing the ball back behind them. That's obstruction.
Lorenzo Cannone just asking for some assistance from the referee in explaining that one.
Yeah, so that first man down has to rip the ball. You can't put 2 men in front of him and then hand it over the back.
I mean, the difference is absolutely marginal. You really can't see it if you're not paying close attention, but it's just another way to make it fairer for opposition to actually have a go at defending those driving mauls. This beautiful art of driving mauls in the line out.
More.
Both these lineouts functioning incredibly smoothly now.
Still a more, 9 all the way up.
But again, these technical infringements are really starting to harm both teams now, just stopping them getting any kind of attacking momentum.
Still a more. Just have a count. We've not got 16, have we?
Adam Leal in the the referee today from the
No, we
RFU,
got 15. 15.
barking
15.
orders at both sides.
Carry on, there's only 15. There's 15, yeah.
There's complicated rules, but the rule to say that you can only have 15 men on the field, that's a pretty simple one. So just triple check it. After all those changes, there's not 16 Italian players. And it's all good, but that's a shame. Nolan Le Garec, you can tell he's not part of the line-out, and the line-out is not finished until that maul clearly went forward. You could tell the referee tells him, 22, you're not allowed to come in, and he just crossed that line a little bit too early.
Just the eagerness of the reserve scrum half coming onto the field, and that's a big tackle on Lorenzo Canone as he carries hard into the French defence. Really dynamic ball carrier, not the first time he's done that this afternoon. He's lying in wait again for the next carry. Here he goes, easily identifiable with a flowing locks and the headband. Garbisi, lots of willing ball carriers offering their services. Now it goes out to Gessi, try scorer from the first half, who looks to go around men rather than through them. Another nicely timed run from the Italian replacement tight head. But once again, holding on the floor, failing to release the ball, and another promising attack comes to nothing. It seems to be a theme developing here, Ben.
That's a clever play by Nolan Le Garec, who's covering just that second field just behind the defensive line. The Italian prop number 18 runs a beautiful outside-in line, but then he's a little bit isolated. Up, you see Nolan Le Garec, the skinniest dude probably on that pitch, but one of the cleverest. Sneaks in, puts his hand on the ball, a beautiful turnover. I agree, it's a bit of a repetitive sort of sequence, but that's what happens when two teams go hard in defense and want to put maximum pressure in the rec area.
So Alfred Parisien has come into the French midfield, replacing inside centre Romain Riguet. Ben mentioned that we may see some of these subs earlier rather than later from the French side, and they're starting to trickle into their lineup now. Still 13-8 the score here at Cardiff Arms Park. And now the French look to spin it wide. Gaetan out to Nelson Epe. Epe's got a bit of space on the left wing here. Will he kick? Will he run? He's eventually brought to ground and the ball spills loose, knocked on in the tackle. So relief for the Italians as Marin digs in.
No advantage, knock on. Coming back under pressure.
And huge relief for the Italians, because whenever that man Epe gets the ball, Ben, everyone holds their breath.
Yeah, we didn't know if he was going to maybe try just a final chip kick at the end to go above the fullback, but a great passage of play. And then when this guy, this electric winger, is there, obviously it's red alert on every element of the Italian defense. But on the floor, maybe the synthetic pitch playing its role there. Couldn't keep the control and unfortunately conceded just a small knock-on that prevented his teammates to recycle that ball and just 5 meters out be able to potentially punch another hole in the Italian defense.
Just shows when the French get width on that ball early and get a bit of space in those 5 meter channels, they look very dangerous indeed.
Set.
Especially with the finisher as brilliant.
Control your weight,
Nelson
France.
Epe.
Early weight. Far side, early weight.
Control your weight is the command from the referee, Ben.
That's what my wife tells me every day post-rugby. Control your weight, Ben. But that's obviously for a different reason. Bordenave needs to control. You don't want to be on your toes and adding pressure before the engagement.
So missed touch finder from Italy, straight into the grateful arms of Nelson Epe, who returns it. Running infield, and it goes on to the big man now, Adrien Varion. Another error, lots of errors creeping into the game now. A much more stop-start affair than it was in the first half. And we mentioned a bit of ring rustiness. A lot of these boys haven't played certainly together in combination with one another for a long time, and it takes a little bit of time to find your rhythm and find your groove.
Yeah, but look at that step by Nolan Le Garec, is just trying to add that little sparkle. You could tell he was probably told at halftime, when you come on, mate, just have a go, show how good you can be, take your leadership initiatives. He almost found his partner in the 9-10 combination with Edgar Rotier coming hand-hand exactly in that hole, but unfortunately for France, not being able to control the possession.
Yeah, Seguela seemed lively enough at 9, but as you mentioned, Le Garec has come on and added a real dynamism to the scrum half role. Already the back line
for the ball before you hit.
When the French get possession, they just appear
guys,
that bit
water off,
more
please.
dangerous.
Let's go. Height and wait till the ball before the push. Mark, please. Crouch.
So Bordenave was told to hold his weight. That means there when he's going to bind. Now he can't creep forward.
Set and
He needs to wait for the calls, and unfortunately he didn't learn his lesson enough.
Number 1.
And you can just see from the celebrations among the Italians, Alessandro Garbisi making sure he taps every one of his forwards on the head for a job well done.
Yeah, it's a tough trade. You can't blame the loose heads or the props in general for trying to be unbalanced, but towards the opposition. You don't want to end up on your heels. You want to be on your tiptoes to be able to put maximum weight before engagement, because scrummaging is the art of first come, first serve. The first one to have the perfect position will always be the strongest.
So 2 scrum penalties apiece for France and Italy here today. Adam Leal definitely earning his crust, monitoring what the 2 front rows are doing to one another. Another untidy lineup for Italy, that one then. So France will have an opportunity, and they're looking to spin it wide in their own 22. There's the replacement centre there, Parisien. They're trying. That's a lovely line there. Lovely line from the replacement tight head from France. And he's made it all the way into the Italian half. But it's been turned over on the floor by Italy. And they launch a counter-attack of their own. Giacomo Ferrari not long on the field.
Such a shame. That was a sensational line by the replacement prop. Look at that. Showing a lot of pace, fending Garbisi towards the end, but then it's the same Vincent who's there, that number 7, who seems to be absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, we've got
The open side or the blind side flanker role to be at the pain of the ruck. But look, just going through defenders, they're concentrating on the ball, not looking at the opposition. Beautiful angle outside in. You go and surprise them. Sensational run by Yemzi.
Definitely one for him to stick on the show reel. Keen kayaker, according to my notes, Ben. Can't imagine you struggle to stay afloat.
Fair play to the boat.
Yeah, we won't start until we both.
He's definitely wearing the triple XL jersey, isn't he?
Thought this guy Benjamin Boudou is having a seriously good game, also getting a start after being on the bench last week, or not even being involved last week. And Benjamin Sa, or Conor Sa, sorry, the starting hooker, the son of Benjamin Sa, a former prop, played beautifully well, but Benjamin Boudou, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to be able to play more.
So this is Victor Montgaillard coming on for Benjamin Boudou, who is being helped off by the medics. Let's hope that isn't too serious an injury. As you say, Ben, he's in a very physical, abrasive presence in that French front row until now.
Let's just hope this doesn't become some sort of ongoing thread. Injuries piling into this French squad. Joshua Brennan.
Let's remind ourselves of those tries then. This is the opening try from Simone Gessi, a phenomenal piece of wing play. And then the French riposte was almost immediate. Matteo Garcia with the initial work, and then Nelson Epe with the finish, a lightning finish for France. And it's 1 try apiece so far. France just edging things on the scoreboard by virtue of a more successful kick ratio.
Crouch.
And we're back to it now.
Bind.
Scrum on the halfway line.
Sit. And wait. Both down. Use the ball. Use it.
Both front rows going down according to Adam Leal, so Italy told to use it, which they do. And here comes Lorenzo Pani, the rangy fullback, again causing a bit of trouble in the French defence, getting his offload away in the tackle as well. A bit of industry from Italy. There's Cannone, the younger brother, of course, of Niccolo Cannone, the 13 times capped Italian, ever present in Benetton Treviso. Rainbow Cup champion as of last weekend.
All right, mate. All good, thanks.
And here is Garbisi.
Tackle!
Another brother of a more famous Italian, Paolo Garbisi, of course, his brother, who's now played more games for the Italian national side than he has for his club, remarkably.
Sorry.
So this is better from Italy. A bit more efficiency at the breakdown. Oh, and as I say that, just an unnecessary knock forward from Nicola Pianatella.
No tackles.
The big knock forward. And France now a chance, perhaps, to counter-attack. Rettier running down a blind alley as things stand. A bit of support from his forwards, which he gets.
Okay, use it.
Now Garek. There's a big overlap here if they work it left. And you can see there that the Italian fly half, Marin, is in no man's land. Danger snuffed out. French knock it on. And it's an Italian scrum. But for a brief moment there was panic in the Italian ranks, Ben.
Yeah, it's knock-on after knock-on. Quite a frustrating sort of offensive sequence on both sides. But France first, conceding some missed tackles, quite on a repetitive sort of scheme, which is not great, which is not good to see. But then, happily for France, then possession got lost by this man who's on the floor now. I think the Italian second row. But they simply couldn't do anything with it. First, Garrotier clearly chose the wrong way to go. It was better on the open side than the blind side. And then a huge overlap that just got eaten up by Garbisi's will to compensate that overlap by just work rate and, you know, and ability to move and to not let go of his defensive effort.
More positive from both of you. Stay up in the scrum.
What Italy have been doing very, very well for these last 59 minutes, compensating any lack of strategy by just so much heart.
It's keeping them in the game, that's for sure. We're approaching the fourth quarter now, and Italy just a score behind. France definitely get the better of possession in this second half, but as Ben is saying, just littered with mistakes from both sides and lost the rhythm that we were finding in the second half, or the first half. But a bit of space for Italy now, and that's a lovely little break inside from their centre, Filippo Drago. And they just need quick ball now, which they've got, but that is a big tackle on Leonardo Marin. Doesn't quite snuff out the momentum. Italy still have it.
Tackle France!
Rizzoli. Here comes Giacomo Ferrari.
You first won it. They won it.
Another turnover for the French, and now they can counter themselves. Could it have come to Nelson Epe there with a missed pass? It's in the hands of Gaeton. It's an Italian penalty, and this is just seesawing back and forth. We thought the game had exploded into life when we saw those two tries in quick succession in the first half, but this is becoming a bit of a battle of wills now.
Yeah, but you mentioned it. Nelson Epe should have received that ball a couple of seconds ago, and then Vakari would have not been able to put his hands on that rug. There just seems to be a tiny bit of hesitation, also because the decision-making process is just shortened, because those French attackers are threatened by the aggressivity and the intensity of the Italian defense.
So a promising position this for the Italians. Can they make this count? As Tommaso Di Bartolomeo throws long, and it's brilliantly received at the back of the line out. So will the Italians set up a rolling maul of their own? They've got their three-quarter line spread out nicely across the pitch. France defending quite narrowly on this open side. If the Italians can work it wide early, they may find a slither of space on the outside, but they're keeping it tight for the time being. Just rolling incrementally towards the French line. Garbisi is having a look now. Tells his forwards to keep going. The ball's hit the deck. It's now a ruck. So Garbisi releases the ball, and that's a good read from the French defence. Alfred Parisien just spotting out the line. But in doing so, he's knocked the ball on.
Well, good job, Parisien actually had the ball, because I was afraid that if that pass stuck, Garbisi was just finding two of his, well, he could have picked on any of his two centers, and they were there in the hole. But Parisien did well to read that one. Maybe hurting, I don't know, his quad or his knee or his ankle or something, but he doesn't seem to be perfectly fit.
It looks like it's strapped as it is, that right knee. Maybe he's aggravated an existing injury.
Yeah, it's okay, we wait. Time's off.
As Italy make another replacement in their front row. Number 17,
Mirko
Spaniolo coming on.
Your scrum, your scrum.
At loose head prop to replace Luca Rizzoli.
Okay. Okay,
I mean, if you just try and analyze things as they go, there's 18 minutes to go. There's only 5 points difference, and Italy have got a beautiful possession 10 minutes away from the French line. This is seriously threatening for France. They haven't been able to put two phases together. They haven't been able to get out of their own half 2-3 opportunities consecutively. They're going to need a strong scrum. They're going to need a strong defense. And wow, they're going to need to get away from their line, because Italy are particularly threatening.
Crouch!
Yeah, this could be a critical point in the momentum of this game.
Set! Now wait!
A perfect attacking platform for Italy. A scrum in the centre of the field.
Advantage.
And they've got the advantage, well, they've got the penalty. This could be interesting. It's a gimme, 3 points, but they're 5 points adrift. And you think, given the momentum, Ben, they'll go another scrum.
No, he selected scrum.
Yeah.
The captain, he selected scrum.
The captain selected scrum. The captain is clearly not Garbisi, because he didn't want to. Again, Bordenave just not finding his right height, putting a knee on the floor, and then his left elbow is on the floor too. The replacement Italian tighthead is doing a hell of a job on him. Everything counts now. You need the leadership from Nolan Le Garec and all his mates. You need a strong effort, and let's show it in the scrum.
So balls in, comes back out to the feet, does it? Yes, of Canoni. Both front rows are up now. I think we'll have a reset.
No one's going forward, we're just going up.
You saw Yemzi there finishing up in the air. The new rules now, irrespectively of which scrum is being dominant, as soon as a front row is up in the air, the scrum is incomplete. You got to go again. But that was better from Bordenave. I think he's been spotted. The ref is right there looking at only his competition against the replacement tighthead, who's tying his shoelaces at the moment.
Tell them, if they want the reward, we've got to go forward through both sides.
See down at pitch side level, Sébastien Bruno, one of the French assistant coaches, former French hooker as well, watching on with interest, probably wishing he was in the middle of that front row, Ben.
Absolutely, he was a proper scrummager, I'm telling you. For anybody who knows rugby, when you're proper, that potentially you could go to, or when you're a hooker, sorry, that potentially you could prop from time to time. That means you're a serious scrummager. And just for the little story, it was funny to see that last week when playing against England, Andy Titterell was part of the coaching staff for England, so the former two Sail Shark hookers were there. We have to be clever, the hookers, not we?
That scrum is a lot more messy, but the French aggressively counter-driving, and they've won the penalty. And look at this reaction from the French. All the backs coming in to applaud their forward colleagues, because let's be honest, that was a very threatening position from the Italians, and a chance to strike and potentially take the lead. And that could well be a turning point in this game.
Yeah, sensational effort, especially from Bordenave. You know, that left side of the scrum. Bordenave has been at it for the last 65 minutes. He's doing a great job. And that was one of those key moments. You needed that shove. You needed to not let go. You're going to see the number 2 for Italy is the first blue helmet to stand up. and his whole right side is just getting absolutely piled. Sensational effort from Philippe Boer and all his mates.
Just let me know when they're all done.
As inspiring as that will be for the French, that will be really disheartening for the Italians as Thibaut Debaes comes in.
Stay 10.
The French number 10, who of course started in that game against England. Top 14 experience for Poe as well. But, the line-out goes astray once again. The French line-out malfunctioning at times this afternoon. And an attack now from the Italians. Lorenzo Pani getting the ball in a bit of space on the left-hand side. And if they can work this back quickly, take advantage perhaps of a disorganised French defence. Now it comes out to Marin. Always got an eye for the gap, the Italian fly half.
Didn't lift the ball.
Does like to run as much as he likes to pass, and there's Bartolomeo, the man at fault for the last scrum penalty. Reaches the ball back, but all of a sudden things have gone a little bit static for the Italians. The pace has gone out of their attack as the French reload in defence, but they still have possession. 5 metres or so outside the French 22. Little tip on pass, in danger of being intercepted, that one. But they've still got hold of it. It's the replacement scrum half on now for the Italians. Manfredi Albanese of Calvasano on for Garbisi. And another strong carry from the Italian back row into the heart of this French defence. Not making a great deal of ground, but they're holding on to the ball. French just in danger there, lying on the wrong side. As you see, wriggle back on the referee's command. And now the Italians are into the French 22. The ball spins wide now, and there's Schiavo.
Advantage, 17, wrong side.
Advantage for the Italians, so a potential shot to nothing here. And Vakari is on his own temporarily. And the whistle goes.
You can't go like that, but is it your advantage anyway?
So decision time for the Italians, a penalty in front of the post. There's still 5 points adrift. There's still 15 minutes left on the clock. They opted for a scrum last time they had a penalty in the Italian 22, but they lost that one. So perhaps unsurprisingly, they're going to take the points.
If they can potentially be only be 2 points behind, obviously offers a whole different spectrum of possibilities. You don't need to force a play. You can just get into the French half and just trying to milk a penalty towards the end. So I think that's the strategy that's decided now. But obviously it will suit France, because France just want to get out of their half.
Guys,
they've been struggling after all that defensive sequence. Finally winning that scrum, going to touch, missing the line. I was just so disappointed. You need to pile success with success to consistently dominate the game and control it, and that's unfortunately what the French have been incapable of in the second half.
Albanese, and that one goes wide as well. The replacement scrum half not finding his radar, and that is disappointing for the Italians. That's 2 penalties inside, that one just outside the French 22, and they've got nothing from either. That will be really dispiriting.
Stay behind, stay behind.
Thibaut Debaes with a dropout 22. Canoni, who's been a really physical presence in that Italian back row, leading from example, captain today, and it's been intercepted by the French. But is that an offside? Yes, it is.
Offside call, 24 white.
My word, this game has seen a lot of whistle.
That is a big call, and if I heard it correctly, it wasn't even Baudon who got pinged. It was Thibaut Debaes, number 24, so it's not even the guy who went for the interception. How disappointing, because that was a sensational read, which, to be honest, 5 points now would have been a breath of fresh air. Yeah, Thibaut Debaes just clearly not making the effort of coming back. Such a shame, because Baudon was there, and if the ball had gone to Nelson Epé, then it would have been game over.
Well, the game needed that, didn't it? We needed something to break open.
I mean, when's the last time France were in the Italian side?
Inside the 5.
It's become something of an impasse between 2 stubborn sides, and
that's once.
Both of them error prone. And the The Italians, as you say, enjoying huge periods of possession, but just not showing the cutting edge
Use it
to take advantage. So back in the French 22. Albanese just marshalling his forwards, not doing anything too risky at this stage, but now perhaps Marin can do that sidestep. Offloading to the replacement centre, Menoncello. And the Italians getting ever closer now to the French line.
Advantage. Ball was not out of the
There is
feet.
another penalty coming their way, so they'll have a free shot. Canone is looking for the ball at the back of that ruck. He'll look to stick his head down, perhaps. No, offloads to his prop. And there it is, nothing's coming from that ruck, so the referee calls penalty. It's bang in front of the posts. Well, last time they went for a scrum, but this time Albanese says, I can't miss from there.
I mean, this Italian fly half has been very, very impressive. Leonardo Marin, consistent in attack, aggressive in his line attack, capable of just spotting some good gaps, good side steps, and then the offload beautifully for his center. Filippo Drago right in the gap, causing all sorts of mayhem in the French defense, who I think have been stuck in their own half for the last 20 minutes at least. Conceding only 3 points now, but that is actually an incredibly good outcome for France, to be honest. We mentioned suffocating Italian defense. Well, it's been suffocating Italian attack in that second half. France will be disappointing to concede 3 points, yes, but they will be so happy to finally get out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. A rare foray into the Italian half now. Thibaut de Baez. The French just nursing a 2-point cushion here, and they will be nervous. There goes Canone. Much like Jack Clements in the England-Scotland game, tireless workhorse at number 8. Doing a lot of the hard yards, kick-off receipts, and just those barreling runs into the French defence, taking hit after hit, getting his team on the front foot. And a bit of a wayward kick, but it takes play back up to the 10-metre line. The Italians need some field position now. They are a penalty away from stealing the lead in this game.
Stay 10.
So Victor Montgaillard, the reserve hooker from Perpignan. Another cleanly taken line-out ball from the French.
No, first man sack
Thomas
is fine.
Poyet.
Stay on, stay on.
Legarec looks up, assesses his options, and Parisien just stutters and drives into the Italian midfield. And the Italian defence just fanning out across the field now. Just committing one to each ruck, determined not to let this French attack extend beyond the 10-metre line. And the Italian defence, as discussed, has been suffocating all afternoon, fanning across that pitch and advancing quickly on the French.
Now off the foot.
And that could bounce favourably for the Italian right winger, Vaccari.
Offside lines.
And Albanese sees a bit of space and kicks beautifully into the French 22.
Still live, still live.
And that trickles into touch. It will be a French throw into the lineup, but the Italians will look to put pressure on this ball.
And we're back where we didn't want to be on the French side. Just admitting defeat with Nolan Le Garrec having to force to kick that ball away, that possession. And again, another Aryan battle lost by France, won by Italy. The smartness to spot that the back cover isn't as perfect as it should be. Perfect bounce. And now Victor Montgaillard is inside his own 22 to throw in the line out for another very, very under pressure throw. 2 points game, 6 minutes to go. France just conceding too much possession, too much territory. And with Italy so easily going back into the French half, adding pressure after pressure. France need to get the small and easiest things absolutely spotless right, or spot on right, because they're clearly under pressure.
The line for you, please.
Thomas Poyet was the target for the last one.
Thank you.
imagine he'll be the target for this
Numbers
one.
5.
6'8",
Time on.
jumping in the middle of the line-out.
Stay 10, please. Maul!
Instead, it goes to Roman
That's the
Marcadi.
first man sat, got no problem with that.
The Montpellier
Still
look
there,
forward.
stay on inside.
Secures
Stay
possession
back.
on the 22-metre line. The French will be desperate to clear their lines now because Italy have got their tails up, and as the game slips into the final minutes, they are the team with the initiative and with the momentum, and they are just 2 points adrift. So Legarec with the clearing kick, but it only gains them maybe 7-8 metres. And now, crucially, the Italians will have the throw into this lineup. 5 minutes to go, 5.5 minutes to go. And
France 7,
the French will need to be squeaky clean now because they're in their own half, and any ill-discipline that leads to a penalty will be in range for Albanese.
5, 6.
Here we go, Tommaso de la Bartolomeo.
More inside the 5.
It's well taken, and the maul is set up. And it's quite close to this touchline. The Italians will need to be careful.
Down by blue! Down by blue!
De Bartolomeo
Stay on.
and Albanese both at the base.
Blue to ground. Use it!
And they've been told to use it. Oh, and it
Volley
is
scrum.
fumbled by the
Volley down the
replacement
swap,
tight head, Nikolai.
Guys, no.
And the French